Hello and welcome to episode 19, and for today's walk I'm joined by a good friend of mine, and he suggested that we climb Ben Lui. And so I had a look on Walk Highlands, and I know I've climbed it before, but I didn't remember much about it, so I wasn't expecting a lot from this walk. The Walk Highlands website to read about the route, and it mentioned one of the most elegant and magnificent mountains in the Southern Highlands, and that certainly wasn't my recollection of this mountain. They were talking about approaching the mountain from the northeast, and the route that they detail on their website is from the west, a little bit northwest of the mountain, and that's the way I did it in the past. But from the other side, it has got a really steep cliff face, and you'll see it in the 3D flyover, and it is really imposing, and it is actually a spectacular mountain to look at, and I was so surprised, and I'm really glad we did it this way. But a couple of points to note: it is a much longer walk, and hence we used our mountain bikes to start with, and also there is another 400 meters of ascent. So if you go the shorter, more direct route, it's just under 1100 meters of ascent. But the route that we took, and the route I'll describe and show in this video, is 1500 meters of ascent. The views are worth it. I really would recommend going this way. I would also recommend taking a mountain bike for the first part. There is a gravel off-road type road. It's in good condition for about 2/3 of the way. Then you pass a farm and the road, it gets a bit rockier. It's still perfectly cyclable. Even I can do it, and I'm not a very good mountain biker, but it does get a little bit rougher for the last few kilometers. Then after that, it's just amazing. Unfortunately, we couldn't see all of the mountain on the way up, but we could see it all on the way back down, and as you'll see from the video, quite stunning. The car park for today's walk is in Dalry, which doesn't even show up in the Google map, to be honest. It's 1 mile south of Tyndrum. More typically, you would approach Ben Lui from the west, slightly northwest here, and you would take, there's a path. You can find this on Walk Highlands website, and I'll put a link to their website in the description below. But the more normal route is to come up, and you go up this ridge here and join the top, then come back down, and then go back down that way. But the best view is from this side, and this, as you can see on here, you can see the steepest side of the mountain is here, and there's a nice climb here in the winter at Central Gully, but we chose to avoid having to take any winter climbing gear, and so we're going up a clear route that's on the OS map, and it takes you up here. So we'll start at the car park, and we brought our bikes. There is a reasonable road in. It's a little bit of an off-road type road, it's not tarmac, and that road mostly goes to the gold mine. So you follow that road, and the gold mine it goes off up there, but you will go this way. You'll take the left here, follow the road, and then the end of the road is right here. The road ends at this point just before the river, and there's a turning circle, and we just left our bikes. There's a post just off beyond the turning cycle, so we padlocked our bikes up to that post. From there you follow the path. It's a clear path, well made. It's got steps made out of rocks, very clear, easy to follow. It does get quite steep once you come to this point, and you climb quite quickly. And here you do need to watch, there's a very small cairn. The main path heads straight on as if you're going to go up Central Gully, but there's a very faint path that goes off to your right. A little cairn, go off to the right, follow that. Once it gets across this little bit, then the path is much more well defined. It's just at the start it's a bit unclear, and then you follow the path up. It gets steeper. It's not difficult, there's no scrambling involved. There's a little bit of scree in this area here, but it wasn't difficult to walk up. It wasn't the kind where you slide backwards as you're standing on it. It wasn't that loose. You'll join the ridge. There's another cairn marked on the ridge. When you join it, you turn left and follow the path. Again, it's quite clear until you get a bit further up, and then there are patches where It was covered in snow when we were there. There may be a clear path, it was hard to tell. There's other bits that are a bit rockier as you get further up. You're going up the edge of a ridge, and it's quite a sharp ridge. So there's quite a drop on this side, less of a drop on your right hand side. And you follow that all the way up until you join the main ridge. And you'll see a clear path that goes down here, because that is the normal route that people take. And that goes up. There's a cairn immediately at the top here, and this is not the summit. It's easily mistaken for the summit because it looks like the highest point, but it goes back down a little bit here and then picks up again, and then the true summit is over here, and it's got a larger cairn. From there you come back, retrace your steps 30 metres or so, and after that you turn left and you go down a very clear path that takes you down to the Bealach, and then you've got the climb back up here, and it's about another 130 metres to get you back up to this point. This is one of the lower Munros at 916 metres, and it's not a difficult pull up this bit here. Obviously from there we retrace our steps all the way back up almost to the summit. We didn't actually go back up to the summit of Ben Lui. It wasn't clear, there was clouds, so it wasn't worth going up to the summit again. And then we went across here. Now we did make a mistake, and we followed this path and we started going down here, and then I checked the map as I do and saw that we just went too far past where the turnoff was, and it was because I didn't recognise there was a little bit that we're scrambling down, and I was like, we didn't come up this way, and I was thinking that maybe we had just went a wee bit round and it was zigzag back, so it could have been a bit. There was no, when you got here there was no way back. It was getting quite steep. So we retraced our steps back up to the cairn, and then we just was more careful about checking where to go down. And from above, this is a very narrow looking ridge, so it doesn't look very inviting to go down, but given that we had come up that way, we knew it was safe to go down there. So we went back down, and it started to clear up when we were around about here, so we've got some images and some good views of the mountain, although the top was always in cloud, but you could see people standing on the summit. And then you just make your way back down. You'll find the small cairn here, and it's very clear. You can see the path going down, and follow that path back down. There is no water. There's a little stream around here, but from there all the way to the summit and the second summit, you're not close to any streams. So if you want to refill your water filter system, the last point is around here. Make your way back down, and then back to where the bikes were. We got the bikes, and the good thing about bringing the bikes, it is a couple of 100 metres or about 180 metres of ascent you're cycling up on the path on the way in, and that is 7 kilometres of cycling to get to this point. It drops down a little bit here to there, so on the way out I just pushed my bike till we got to the highest point here, and then you could just cycle and coast out. It was really easy to get back, all the way back to the car park. The car park itself is free. There is a donation box if you wish to make a donation, but you do not have to pay to display, and there are no toilets at the car park. Ben Lui is in the West Highlands, and here we have the report for Sunday. There's not going to be much wind, and it's also unlikely to be very clear. If we have a look at the weather report at the Met Office for Ben Lui, again, it's confirming there's not very much chance of rain, not a lot of wind. It's going to be around about 0, and visibility of about 4 kilometres, so not a lot of visibility, so I expect it to be overcast. And I'll have a quick look at the weather map. So the weather map for Ben Lui, I'll just play that. Ben Lui is here. So there's no rain forecast for tomorrow, and then I'll check the clouds cover, and as we can see there's going to be a lot of cloud tomorrow. Hello and good morning. I'm at the Dalry car park, just along the road from Tyndrum. We're going to climb Ben Lui today. Starts with a 7 kilometre cycle, and then it's about an 8 kilometre walk all in, and then cycle back out. Ben Lui is over that way, but it is in cloud. Don't know if we're going to get to see very much. We'll see how it goes. The time is just around about 8 o'clock. Just looking back down the track as we cycled up here, we just went past the turn off of the gold mine. It's a lovely morning for a walk. There's no wind, but there is low-lying cloud, and you can see from the cloud there, it's not even moving. We've come to the end of the 4x4 gravel road. There's a turning circle. We've just parked our bikes over beyond the circle. Ben Lui is straight ahead, and we go up the side of that stream you can see coming down for about 1 kilometre, and at that point we'll take a slight right hand bend, and then it's about another kilometre to the top. Unfortunately, it is in cloud at the moment, and that's unlikely to change, I don't think. No wind, quite a pleasant day for a walk. Backpack on and head up the mountain. So the turning circle is just there. We've locked our bikes up here. We start by crossing the stream and then just head up this path into the cloud. So far this path has been excellent, really good steps. I would say it's making it easier to get up, but it's really steep as well. Very nice part of the countryside. We're just entering the cloud now. Seems to be drifting over very slowly from the east and enveloping us. A typical walk in the Scottish Highlands. Right, we've now reached the part where the path forks. There's a small cairn. We're going to head off up to the right. Definitely the less used path here. You can see the one to the left is much more robust, well defined. We're going to go up this grassy slope. Takes us onto the ridge. And straight ahead there's a lovely big amphitheatre of cliffs, and it looks amazing. Just not today. This path's not as well made, but it's still easy to follow. It's clear enough. The cloud is getting a little bit thinner, a little bit brighter. Still some snow over there. We're hoping that when we get to the top we'll have an inversion. That's always nice. almost up to the ridge line. You can actually see it in the cloud there. That bit that's a little bit lighter directly in the middle of the frame. The bowl is just over there. Central Gully, thank you. It's a shame it's not clear. I think this is a really spectacular view of Ben Lui from here. It's quite a steep ascent, but it wasn't actually that difficult. It's a good path. It's just a steady incline. Nothing scary. No problem if you've got vertigo, I don't think. We've made it up to the top of that steep section. Quite out of breath, but it's not bad. It's not like it's screaming you're one step forward and 2 steps back, but it is a bit steep. No scrambling involved, just a good old-fashioned walk. There's a cairn at the top here, so we'll keep an eye on that. We're going back down the same way, but it's right in the middle of the path. Now we're on the ridge, so we've got, I don't know, about 500 metres in this direction, and then we'll get to the summit. And there's still no wind, the very slightest of breeze, and no people. Just the two of us. I'm gonna have a drink. It gets fairly steep at this point on the ridge. We've got 100 metres of distance to get to the top and 50 metres of altitude to climb. Just going up this little bit here. Still a bit of snow on this side. It's the north facing side of Ben Lui. Nice atmospheric, eerie, cloudy. See through this, what do we call this overhanging snow? Cornice, thank you. Getting old, I can't remember things. So if you stood on that bit of snow, you wouldn't last long. And so just literally 3 metres from the summit is a sheer cliff drop, and as you can see here, it cornices over, so just be careful. Unfortunately, we've not got much to see today. But we have the place to ourselves. So here we are at the summit of Ben Lui. It's just gone 11 o'clock. It's an easy walk along the ridge, about 100 metres from that first cairn when we first summited. Whoa! Whoa! There's a big rock here. There's a big drop down there. Ooh, don't want to go off that. Ooh, slippy rock. Unfortunately, not the best visibility. As you come off the top, of Ben Lui. You come along, you'll see a very distinct path going down to the left. So at this point, you go down there to do the next one. We actually came down slightly further to the left and joined the path, but you go straight down there, it's very obvious. Just approaching the summit of Ben Chleibh. It's just a small cairn in this one. It's quite a small hill. It didn't take us long at all to get up from the Bealach, and it's really quite an easy walk up that bit. It's not as steep. The path's decent. This is looking back at Ben Lui. Unfortunately, the cloud hasn't risen. Wasn't expected to be honest. It's just a walk in the clouds. A little bit more breeze now. Don't know if you'll pick it up in the microphone. Going to stop, have something to eat. So we're just going to head back off the summit. It's just retracing our route from the bikes back to here. So we're going to go down, then up. It's about 200 metres of ascent back up to the summit of Ben Lui. I'm not very hopeful that it'll clear, but maybe it will. And then we come down that fairly steep ascent up to that. But there should be no real difficulties, and it's easy to navigate. It's basically straight ahead, summit of Ben Lui, turn left, and then turn right at that wee cairn. Right, onwards and downwards. So we've come back down to the Bealach. You'll see there's a small cairn. If you're doing this the more traditional way, and that's coming in from the west and going eastward, then you would go down to the left. But it's quite a boggy path that way, at least it was the last time I did it. So we're going to go straight on and back up to Ben Lui, and then back down the way we ascended. There's a very slight flat bit on the way back up to Ben Lui. From here, it's about 50 metres of ascent. You can maybe just see the ridge line. It was a slightly lighter bit in the grey. And it's about 200 metres to the ridge. The Ben Lui is slightly to the right as you hit the ridge from here. So we just left the summit and we actually missed the turn. That's the ridge we came up, that really steep looking one. It doesn't look like that on the way up, but it does on the way down. There's no cairn and no marking. The main path goes off straight ahead and to the left slightly, and I'll show it where you've got to turn off, but it's a bit tricky. And only because they're keeping an eye on the map and the GPS did we see that we're going down the wrong route. But you wouldn't think to go down there because it being so steep from here. The summit, it just came into focus a minute ago, so the cloud is clearing up slightly. So there we have the summit of Ben Lui, clearing up slightly. It's also getting a little bit windier. And you can see down the cliff face. It goes down for quite a way. Right, Right, so as we're heading down from Ben Lui, you'll see this quite prominent cairn, which is not the top, and you follow the path, but the main path, it goes down a different ridge to what we ascended, so we've got to be careful and turn off to the right at the right point. It's just coming up. Oh yeah. So, I don't know if this was meant to be a little cairn just to mark where the top of the ridge is. I think it is. So we want to go down here, and at least it's a bit clearer now. When on the first take of this, we couldn't see this bit, and we started going down that ridge over there, which obviously would take you to quite a different destination. So we're just going to work our way down here and back to the little cairn where you turn off to go down. The sun really is trying to come out, but I think it's going to ultimately fail. That's where that cairn was that I just pointed out a minute ago. So it's not the summit. It's about another 100 metres over, and unfortunately we can't see it. Yeah. So we're going down here, which is slightly to the right of the path we came up, but they both went up, just the other one just went up there. Yeah, there's a bit of snow at the top, so we're going down this one which has no snow. Takes us to the same place. Still can't see the summit from here. Visibility is improving slightly. Literally 10 seconds after that last video, the summit cleared. So there's the summit over there, sort of mid-frame. I don't know if they realise they're not at the summit. There's some climbers. So you can see down there where the path goes off the ridge. So it goes off and then down to the right, and then just meanders down, joins up to that river or stream, and goes all the way back down to where the bikes are. So you're just there, centre frame. We even have a little bit of blue sky. Let's not get too excited. So we're just approaching the cairn, and it's time to turn off to the right and make our way back down. The summit's still not really cleared up properly. It's all clear at this height, but as it gets higher, still in clouds, unfortunately. So, make our way down here. Straightforward path now all the way back to the bikes and back to the car park. So earlier on I said it was a spectacular view of Ben Lui, and now you can see what I was talking about. The summit itself is still just a little bit in cloud, but it's certainly brightened up much nicer than earlier. But if you were to start off now, it'd be quite a late finish. So, still fairly overcast. I'm going to get a wee drink. We're back at the bikes, we've unlocked the bikes, got our bags packed, ready to cycle. I'm going to push my bike up the hill to start with until we get to the top of this hill. And then after that we should have a nice cycle, coast back to the car park, so I'm looking forward to that. The actual Munros Ben Lui, it's almost clear, not quite there yet. It was a nice walk, good path, good route. Did enjoy that one. As always, if you liked the video, please click like, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Bye for now. So we're back at the car park. 8 hours total journey time, including stops. But it's a really nice walk, and I did enjoy it. I'll hope to see you all in the next one. Thanks, and bye for now.